Going to bump out of that with Christina. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy giving an update there. 178 new cases, all schools closed for 2 weeks. He'll be signing that today. Let's listen.
This emergency may not be abated by the time that date arrives. We will not put students, educators, and staff and their families at risk. We will do this the right way, the responsible way. The directive, and many have asked us about this, covers all public, private, and parochial schools from pre-K to grade 12. And all colleges and universities will have to cease in-person instruction as well. Many districts and institutions of higher education had preemptively announced closures of at least 2 weeks. We all need to prepare for the likelihood that it will, in fact, be much longer. And in fact, CDC guidance points us all to that likelihood. Again, I want to thank and reiterate my thanks to the educational leaders from around the state, up and down the state, who have worked with Commissioner Repillette and Secretary Smith-Ellis and their teams, and with me and my team, as we advance toward this inevitable decision. Their input was vital to ensuring we landed in the right place. We are confident that both the overall educational and individualized needs of students, including access to free and reduced meals, will be met during this closure. However, I am keenly aware that closing schools is not the only step we must take to ensure that people aren't congregating in places where coronavirus can easily spread. As was said this morning on the call I held with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont, we need to act regionally and cooperatively and decisively. The actions I am taking are mirrored in many respects across our 3 states. And if, in addition to that, I spoke with Governor Wolf not only over the weekend, but a short while ago today of Pennsylvania, and I'm pleased to share that Pennsylvania will also be joining our regional efforts and taking similar steps to the ones I am announcing. So, here goes in some other steps. All non-essential and non-emergency travel in New Jersey is strongly discouraged between the hours of 8 p.m. and 5 p.m. daily, effective this evening at 8 p.m., until further notice. To be clear, and I think I may have contributed to this confusion over the weekend, this is not a curfew, but it is strongly recommended and travel is strongly discouraged. But if you don't need to be on the roads, you should not be on the roads. If, alternatively, you are a healthcare worker or other employee essential to our response, we still need you to get to work and to the vital jobs you are doing. And from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you and recognize that you are the front lines in this fight. But for those who do not need to be out, please, please, please just stay home. Businesses, which play a direct role in our response efforts or are necessary for the public's health, safety, and welfare, such as supermarkets and grocery stores, pharmacies, medical offices, and gas stations, among a very limited list, those entities may remain open past 8 p.m. All casinos, racetracks, movie theaters, performing arts centers, nightclubs, gyms, and fitness centers and classes will also close entirely, effective at 8 p.m. this evening, until such time that it is deemed safe for their reopening. Again, I repeat, casinos, racetracks, movie theaters, performing arts centers, nightclubs, gyms, and fitness centers and classes all will close entirely, effective 8 p.m. tonight, until such time that it is deemed safe for their reopening. Good news is online gaming will continue. Bad news is not much to wager on. All other non-essential retail, recreational, and entertainment businesses must close at 8 p.m. every day, beginning this evening at 8 p.m. And during business hours or daytime hours, businesses may remain open, but only if they limit their occupancy to no more than 50 persons and adhere to social distancing guidelines. Again, I want to repeat this. All other non-essential retail, recreational, and entertainment businesses must close by 8 p.m. every day, beginning today. And in addition, during daytime hours, those businesses may remain open if they limit their occupancy to no more than 50 persons and they adhere to the 6-foot and other social distancing guidelines. All bars and restaurants are closed for eat-in services effective 8 p.m. this evening until further notice. After 8 p.m., until further notice, these establishments may open for takeout and delivery orders only. These restrictions will be in place during daytime as well. Again, I repeat, just because I want to make sure there's no confusion, all bars and restaurants are closed for eat-in services in the entirety of New Jersey effective 8 p.m. this evening until further notice. After 8 p.m., not just this evening, but other evenings, and until further notice, these establishments may be open for takeout and delivery orders only, and these restrictions will be in place during daytime hours as well. As a general matter, all gatherings of 50 or more persons are canceled effective 8 p.m. tonight, with very limited exceptions. And frankly, if you ask me about an exception, I'm not sure I've got a good answer for you. But any gatherings of 50 or more are canceled effective tonight. I think you may have seen this already, but want to reiterate that the Motor Vehicle Commission has closed all offices and inspection stations for the next 2 weeks at least. As was previously announced, all licenses and non-driver IDs, registrations and inspections expiring by May 31st are extended by 2 months. We encourage everyone who can utilize the MVC's online capabilities to do so. Additionally, and General Beal will discuss this, as of today, I am mobilizing the New Jersey National Guard to assist in our efforts in any way necessary. And again, Brigadier General Beal will speak to this in a few moments. We do not take any of these steps lightly. We know that each comes with its own set of impacts on residents and families, on communities, and on local businesses. But at this moment, our paramount concern must be to flatten the curve of new cases so we do not overload our healthcare system. We all must take seriously the need for social distancing that can help slow the spread of coronavirus. We need everyone, frankly, to stay home. Let me be perfectly clear. It was very obvious from what we all saw over the weekend that not enough New Jerseyans are taking to heart the need for social distancing that is absolutely vital to our flatlining the curve and keeping ahead of this public health emergency. There is no reason that anyone should run the risk of infecting friends and loved ones or their community, especially those who may be most vulnerable to coronavirus. I know, I'm a Murphy, by the way, guilty as charged. I know people wanted to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but absolutely no one should even have been considering going out to a bar. Even if you feel completely healthy, you could still be a carrier of coronavirus. There will be another St. Patrick's Day next year. Sitting this one out could mean the difference for you or someone you love to actually making it to then. Our New Jersey family is too precious. We all must play our part to win this fight against coronavirus and emerge stronger than ever. This is not a time for selfishness. This is a time to think of those around you. Dr. Tan, welcome. To every New Jerseyan who has already taken personal responsibility to heart during this emergency, and there are millions of you, I thank you. And I urge you to continue doing what you're doing and to keep being a model for others who may need a wake-up call. Folks, a couple of extemporaneous comments. We need to put, just as I have said and will continue to say, this is no time to panic. It still is no time to panic. It's time for smart, intelligent, aggressive, proactive action. And just as that is true, it is equally as true, this is not time for business as usual. The amount of anecdotes that we get, everything on one end from bars you literally can't get into over the weekend to not one single roll of toilet paper left in the entire state. We got to bring radically, dramatically, and immediately that behavior on both ends into a more equitable, more reasonable, more rational reality. We can't allow the business as usual culture to continue. Clearly, as I said, this does not come without a price. It will come with a big economic price. We understand that. If we do not act, the price will only be larger, both in humanity as well as economically. So there are some people out there who think this is fake news, and our friends, the Russians, I'm sure, are feeding that notion. This is not fake news. This is real. On behalf of all of us, is if we don't have this right, if we're not accurate about this, it's on me. This is real. Stop believing folks who say it isn't real. There's another bigger group of people who think that they're impenetrable, that it's not going to affect them. They're the fitness of the picture of good health. I would just say to you and each and every one of you out there, this is a challenge for each of us. Yes, to our young people and their parents. While, in fact, this is heavily skewed toward older members of our community, although Judy will give you the range of the ages of the new cases in a moment, you may be asymptomatic but carrying coronavirus. And think about that. You're cavalier. You're in a bar. You're in some big party in a house somewhere. You feel really good and really healthy. And then the next day you're going to see grandma and grandpa, or your parents, or a coach, or an uncle and aunt, or a teacher who may be more vulnerable, who may have an underlying health issue. And you unwittingly are putting their lives at risk. We have got to put an end to this business as usual. So to the folks who think this isn't real, trust me, it's real. And it's on me if we prove this otherwise. And to those who think it can't affect them, I'm here to tell you it can. So just as it is not time to panic, but it is time to be smart, proactive, aggressive as we're being, it is equally not time for business as usual. I cannot overstate this. Before I conclude, I had the opportunity to speak directly a short while ago with President Trump and Vice President Pence, and I had spoken to the Vice President on Friday evening. And again, we've been in regular contact with them and personally in their offices. In this case, an hour or two ago was the governor's video conference that is normally held on Monday. The President, Vice President, and I also discussed that New Jersey is one of 12 states that will be standing up testing sites in conjunction with the federal government, and specific FEMA. Colonel Callahan will give additional details on this, I think, very positive development in a few minutes. On our call today, I pressed the President and Vice President and their teams for more personal protective equipment for our frontline public health workers, for more on-the-ground assistance, a la the FEMA help in setting up for testing, and to prepare to support our businesses, our workers, and our economy when we come out of this emergency, which we inevitably will do. We will continue to push for necessary supplies, particularly so-called PPE, personal protective equipment, so long as there is an emergent need for them, and there is. Before I close, I must give our continued thanks to everyone out there whose work is helping our state stay safe, stay together. Public health workers, where would we be without you and your heroism? The janitorial and custodial workers, and the women and men working to keep our grocery stores open and stocked, to name just a few. I also want to recognize the tremendous work of each of you in the media who are making sure that the people have the facts, and you're doing it because we're living it as well 7 days a week. We tip our caps to everyone who's playing their role in seeing us through this unprecedented times. As I've said before, We are all in this together. We all have our jobs to do, beginning with including yours truly, and assuming we all do our jobs. We take this seriously. We don't panic, but we realize it's no longer time for business as usual. And we do both the little things and the big things. Assuming we do all that, I could say unequivocally, we emerge from this stronger as one New Jersey family than ever before. And to all New Jerseyans, I wish you nothing but safety and good health. Let's do this together. It is now my honor to turn things over.